Today we're going to dive into the question, how does the 401k work when you retire? For starters, all retirement accounts work the same way. You cannot withdraw any money prior to the age of 59 and a half years old, because if you do, you will be charged a 10% federal penalty plus federal and state taxes if your state has state tax on every dollar you take out. So it's advisable to wait until after the age of 59 and a half to retire. Now, the 401k and the 403b have a special rule called the Rule of 55, which states that if you retire after the age of 55 and you want access to your money, they will allow you to take a withdrawal out of your 401k or your 403b without paying a penalty. You just have to pay taxes. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these plans will not allow you to make partial withdrawals out of them after you have separated from service. So in order to get access to your money, you might actually need to take all of it, which would not necessarily be ideal for taxes. And you also have to keep your money in your former employer's account. This does not apply to IRAs. However, it's typically not advised to leave your money with your former employer when you have officially retired or separated from service. Think about it like this. Would you ever leave your wallet or your keys at your ex's house after you broke up? Or would you go back and take everything with you? Kind of a silly question, right? But you'd obviously take everything with you. Same rule applies when you leave your job. You typically want to take your money with you. Why? Because when you leave it with your old employer, you have no control over anything with how it grows or how it's managed. So typically it's advised to roll it into an IRA, an individual retirement account, because this will break you free from your employer's rules and restrictions and allow you full control and access to your money and to how it grows. Now, it's important to note that upon withdrawal of money out of your 401k is when you're going to pay your taxes. You don't actually have to pay any taxes on any money you haven't withdrawn just yet. So let's say that you're transitioning into retirement and you realize maybe you don't need the money from your 401k. Maybe you have got enough money coming in from an employer pension, or maybe some rental income that's coming in, or maybe you've got enough coming in from Social Security that you don't plan to ever need money from your 401k. In fact, you'd rather just leave it as an inheritance to your children or to your grandchildren. Well, that's where it's really important to mention a little rule called the age 73 rule, or what we also call the RMD rule, which states that you have to start taking money out of your traditional tax-deferred retirement accounts by the time you turn age 73 if you're no longer working. This rule does apply to all traditional tax-deferred retirement accounts through employers as well as IRAs. But it's also important to note that this rule does not apply to any Roth products, Roth 401ks or IRAs, because the money has already been taxed, so there's no need to have a rule or restriction on taking your money out because taxes have already been paid. Now, you can delay this if you are still working past the age of 73, but if you aren't, you need to start withdrawing your money. But if you are past the age of 73 and you are not working, you have to start taking out your RMDs. Usually starts anywhere between 3.5% to 4% of the value of that account, and that does typically increase on you as you get older. And if you don't take it out, the IRS is going to charge you a 25% penalty on the RMD plus taxes on top of that, which is going to make it very difficult for you to leave your 401k as an inheritance to your children. So now the question is, what do you do with your 401k when you retire if you don't want to leave it with your former employer? Well, typically you're just going to be recommended to roll it into an IRA. Again, it stands for an individual retirement account. But I also want to encourage you to take a look at something called an FIA, a fixed index annuity, because this account allows you to put a wrapper of protection around your money and ultimately pensionize it, which means it turns your 401k into a private pension, meaning it's going to pay you a paycheck for as long as you live. You don't ever have to worry about running out of money. Now, before you make any money moves, this video is not meant to be taken as investment advice. I highly encourage you to connect with a licensed financial professional that you trust to navigate you through these factors as you transition into retirement. And it's very important if you're getting close to retirement, knocking on the door of it, you want to start having this conversation at least a year in advance so you can start to get your ducks in a row and know what you want to do with your money. Now, if you want to learn more about the accounts you can roll your 401k into, I've linked 2 videos here that will walk you through some options. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another video teaching you what you can do with your money, and I'll catch you back here next week on YouTube.